Now we're gonna wake up. What happened to bridges in pop songs? What a great question by Blue Haven Boulevard. Go subscribe to them. And make sure to like this video if you like my reaction. And
Has anyone else noticed that most pop songs now just don't have a bridge anymore? If you felt like recently pop songs have been getting shorter, you wouldn't be wrong. A UCLA study pulled data from Spotify
I feel like
to find that
everybody
the average song length of popular songs has decreased by about 46 seconds from 2010 to 2020, almost an entire minute in just one decade. People speculate various reasons for that. The importance of TikTok and short-form content in music, the nature of streaming, the music industry shifting toward favoring more replayable songs, and many other reasons. You know, it's not really one specific thing. But what I want to talk about today is a similar, possibly related shift in the way pop songs themselves are structured. More often than not, the bridge is starting to get left out. To understand this shift, we need to understand what exactly are the components of a typical pop song. You probably are familiar with the verse-chorus form. There's a chorus, which is the part that repeats throughout the song, giving you the main idea, usually the title. It sticks in your head and makes you remember the song. It's what you always come back to. Then there's the verses, which are more dynamic and provide background to that chorus to fill in the gaps. In most pop songs, there are two iterations of verse-chorus, followed by a bridge, which is meant to be different from everything else we've already heard. It creates some sort of pivot in the song, whether musically or lyrically, and usually establishes some new context to then lead us into the final chorus, whether it be emphasizing the main point of the song or putting a new spin on it. The bridge can be the most memorable part of the song for that very reason. It leaves a lasting impression, it makes that final chorus hit even harder, and ultimately it makes the whole song more worthwhile to listen to. However, you may have noticed recently, a lot of hit songs now just end after the second chorus. Maybe that second chorus is extended in some way to give the end of the song a bit more punch, otherwise why would you listen to the end? But then that's it. No bridge, no pivot, no addition to the story. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, it's just a shift I'm pointing out, but it's way more common to do this now than I think it used to be. Here are a bunch of examples of hit songs without bridges from just the last 2 years. In fact, all the songs I'm going to use as examples in this video are hits from 2023 onward.
These beautiful things that I've got,
why this first? Alright, well, I mean, this is Pink Panthers. Like, her songs have like one verse and one chorus. Like, this is not even like a fair. Banger, obviously. Banger. I don't care if you hear the song. Banger. Fuck you. Not a banger. Thought we were doing hit songs in this. I look fly, I look good. Thought we were doing hit songs. Pushing on my buttons with no hesitation. Thought we were doing I actually need to show.
Many times the song might have longer verses or extend the length of the second chorus to still make the song feel full length. But undeniably, none of these songs have that pivotal bridge moment after the second chorus that introduces something new. Another way to make the song feel full length without a bridge is to have a chorus at the start. In fact, this is pretty common throughout pop music, not just the last couple of years. But you'll still notice that in these songs, after the first 2 full cycles of verse-chorus, the song ends. There is still no bridge. Here's more examples of that.
Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. You're my little boo thing, so I'll give a hoot what you do.
Damn, wait. Look, why do these songs kind of sound the same? Am I crazy? I don't know. Maybe my ears are stupid or something. They sound similar. Okay, you know what I think? I do like more like EDM-ish songs count. Because EDM pop, because like EDM they have the drop, so that makes it longer, right? Is that like the chorus? Is that I don't really know.
But even with nothing on Made you look. I made you look.
Baby, you're priceless. I never had anything like this.
Thought we were doing hit songs. Goddamn.
I don't care. I paint the town red. Bitch.
Now that's about 18 songs in total that I've noticed, which might not sound like a lot, but many of these songs have undeniably been some of the biggest radio hits of the last couple years. And as you can probably see, it's for a
Priceless?
reason. These songs make their point
Hit.
and then hammer down on it. Most of these songs also have
Interesting.
two-part choruses, or a chorus followed by a hook, which has always been fairly common in pop
Okay.
music, but it's
So then the
especially
EDM
common
drop
here
is the
in
hook, I
particular.
guess?
Again, trying to push more things
knows?
that stick in your brain to keep your attention versus having a bridge that extends the story of the song. And I think that's the trade-off that's going on here. It creates an element of simplicity to these songs that I think just appeals to people more broadly these days. This allows radios, streaming platforms, and ultimately the artists themselves to get you excited about the song, but move on to the next one before they lose
Right.
your attention.
I
And
think,
that's what
especially with like aux culture nowadays, like people don't want to be people don't want to be in the car. You know, you come in the car, you put on the aux, and then the song is like 4 minutes with a fucking crazy bridge and shit. Like, no, we want like 2-minute songs, go from song to song, so we have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
allows these to turn into such massive hits.
I'm interested in the fact that Birds has become what it has become. I kind of felt like that was one that would potentially be seen as a hit or whatever, but I wasn't sure. It's fascinating what people are gravitated towards.
Now, I do think there are certain genres that utilize this structure more than others, one of those very critically being dance pop. Dance pop is all about getting you on your feet, having a good time, and once the sound of the chorus has been established, the artist wants to keep you there, dancing, rather than pivoting away to something else like a bridge would do. And so usually after 2 choruses and a bit of repetition, the artist is ready to move on to the next thing. Literally, there is only one song on the entirety of Brat that has a full verse, chorus, bridge, chorus song structure, and
Damn.
that's Hello Goodbye, which, funnily enough, is the least popular song on the album, though I would have to
Damn.
disagree. Brat is kind of a tricky thing to do this with because a lot of songs don't really have a defined pop structure. They just kind of establish an idea and roll with it in a bunch of different ways. But that is kind of the whole idea of dance pop again, ditching a defined structure in favor of just feel-good vibes. And I think that's really interesting how a phenomenon that's always been prevalent in dance pop is kind of making its way into mainstream, having that sweet release of a hook that is fun and grabs your attention, but then quickly moving on to the next song and keeping you engaged. If you ask me, it's kind of giving indicator of recession pop, but I don't know, who's to say I didn't say that. Another genre that pretty commonly utilizes this structure is hip-hop pop fusion. A great example of
yeah.
recent is Doja Cat. A lot of her songs don't have a bridge,
I
and
mean,
instead
hip hop doesn't really have bridges. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it's like pop hip hop, but like just like hip hop in general, it doesn't have bridges. It doesn't most of the time. No, it's just another verse. Like,
put a chorus on at the start of the song to still make the whole thing feel full.
Oh, I mean, like,
hip-hop
it's-
pop fusion is already doing a lot.
it's either
in blending catchy
3
melodious
choruses or
hooky
2
choruses with long rap heavy
No
verses.
bridges
So I
ever.
don't think there's really a need to pivot to a bridge most times. And many of Doja Cat's biggest hits are structured this way: Say So, Woman, and Agora Hills, just to name a few. Okay, so great. Songs are getting shorter overall because of streaming and TikTok brain, and so bridges are starting to
was she
disappear in
there?
pop music,
Wait,
right? Well, sorta kinda. First
What's
off,
that?
there are still a lot of hit songs in recent years that not only have bridges and use the full song form, but that I feel like were especially successful because of their bridges. Like I said at the start, a good bridge can often define an entire song, and that magic in a bridge that sweeps you away, that hasn't disappeared. Lots of recent hits have bridges that added a ton of power to the final chorus and really made the entire song come together. Let's take a look at some of those examples, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit as we go through
okay.
each to
Let's see.
explain why the bridge was so important.
You know I hate to say, but I tell you so.
Easily one of the biggest songs of 2024, undeniably, the bridge is kind of what makes the entire thing. The anger and frustration in When You Wake Up Next to Him in the Middle of the Night, the way Chappell Roan's voice just soars at the end as she exclaims, "I told you so," the way those ad-libs continue into the final chorus, and you can still hear that.
maybe it's like a story type thing, because a lot of songs, there's a lot, like, I feel like Good Luck Babe is like really built on its topic and theme. Like, it's really like a core component of the song, while other songs like 360, like, no one's like really like going into the lyrics like, oh, actually, yeah, this is actually like, no one's doing that shit. Okay, maybe it people with the more storied songs, the more songs with a direct topic and theme, like people want bridges on those, and don't want bridges on songs that are more for like a chill vibe. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'm
That
looking at it
anger
wrong.
in her voice. It is so powerful. And that's what makes
And he's probably gonna do Cruel Summer too, but I feel like that kind of falls into the same lane, more of like a topic theme. More, I don't know.
listening to the end
maybe
of the song
I'm kind of
so worth
stretching
it,
it.
so you could hear that entire story arc from start to finish. In fact, this is the case with a lot of Chappell Roan's biggest hits: Hot to Go, Casual, Feminine Phenomenon. The bridge going into the final chorus is what makes the entire song, and oftentimes the part that people remember the most. She really takes advantage of that standard songwriter pop form and just excels with it, and tons of people have latched onto that despite even these recent shifts in pop music.
Made it out alive, but I think I lost it. Said that I was fine, said it from my car. Remember how I died?
I was surprised to see this song
Yeah, no, this also falls in the story category.
go as viral as it did and end up becoming one of Gracie Abrams' most streamed songs to date. When it came out on the deluxe version of The Secret of Us, I kind of just thought it was another version of Risk. That is until the bridge, which really ramps up the tension of the song, and it's just so addicting to listen to with all the fast lyrics, Gracie's anger coming through in her voice.
Twitter's
leading
favorite
us
artist.
into the final chorus, which hits even harder, again, due to the emotion of the bridge. And again, it's not just me who thinks so. That is literally the part of the song that went viral and caused it to become such a massive hit. Earlier, I talked about
Another
Birds of a
song.
Feather being the biggest hit from Hit Me Hard and Soft. And it still is. But similar to That's So True, there's another song from the album that was originally just a B-side, but ended up taking off later on and blowing up primarily due to its bridge, and that is Wildflower. The sheer emotion of the bridge, the way it ramps up the
This
tension of the
song's
song
aight.
and sweeps you
So-
in, putting an entirely new spin on the final, softer chorus.
In the backseat.
Don't get all up on your high horses. This song is really, really good. And
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Now this kind of this song kind of like discredits my point that I'm making right now. But I feel like Addison Rae, I mean, I feel like her whole era right now is like just going for that like retro like pop vibe, you know, kind of go back, you know, like back then, you know, older stuff, whatever. And I think the bridge is kind of an ode. The bridges, the bridge on this song, or there's probably bridges on the other songs too, are kind of an ode to like the older style of pop that she's trying to go for. Maybe, I don't know, maybe again I'm stretching this shit.
now don't get all up on your
fucking
high
knows?
horses. This song is really, really good. And the bridge is kind of why. The bridge involves a key change, but not going up as with most pop songs, but going down. And it kind of just puts a whole new spin on the final
Bro,
chorus.
imagine me and
It
this guy
makes it
driving.
feel
Like, bitch, I'm trying to talk, man. Like, booty up in my head.
pop songs, but going
Good.
down. And it kind of just puts a whole new spin on the
Touching
final
all on
chorus.
me,
It makes
damn.
it feel even more like
I'm trying not to
sensual
crash
and chill
here.
and lo-fi as the
Jesus.
whole song already is. But more than anything, I think that's what showcased that Addison Rae was taking her art seriously, and thus helped establish her as a worthwhile dance pop artist. She would not be being taken seriously whatsoever right now if this comeback wasn't good, but it was, and now she's competing on the charts with some of the biggest pop singers of our generation. Now, those are just some examples of songs that I think were
Is she,
specifically
though?
popular
Is she?
because of their bridges that I wanted to highlight. But I'm going to list some more hit songs from the last couple years that I think had pretty iconic bridges, or at least they were iconic to me. Even if they didn't define the whole song, they still showcase the power that a bridge can have. And here are some examples of that.
It was true love, but wouldn't
Story
be
song.
hard. You can't love anyone 'cause that
Prove my
was
point.
when you had a heart. We gon' fuck up the night.
Sonic, sexy product on my body. Boy, you got it.
You know that you made me.
Story song, this song, yeah, it's kind of, you know, story song,
He looks up grinning like a devilish.
kind of. I know, maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong.
All time, I'm on my way. Save my soul. If you try
I actually kind of like. I wish this song was like more of a hit. That song is actually kind of good. Damn.
All these songs demonstrate that bridges are still relevant and important in modern pop music.
True.
It would be a far stretch to say that music trends or TikTok has completely killed off the bridge. Then what's even more interesting is there's a lot of songs that still kinda have bridges, but to reconcile the inclusion of a bridge with the overall trend of keeping songs more concise, the song instead chops off just the final chorus, and the bridge turns into an outro. A lot of songs I mentioned at the start that don't have bridges did have some stuff after the second chorus that could be seen as an outro, but those were always just extensions of the final chorus in some way, and they sounded like things that you already knew. These outros, though, feel new in some way. They introduce some new lyrics or a new musical idea, just like a normal bridge would do, pivoting the song away from what you already know. But then the song ends there, instead of being an actual bridge to a final chorus. Now here are some examples of that. Lorde is a great example. All of her singles from her
I don't
first
remember how
album,
this song
Pure
goes, I'm
Heroine,
not gonna lie
from
to you.
12 years ago, all had full-length bridges and final choruses. Meanwhile, all the singles for her upcoming release, Virgin, follow this revised structure, including a short outro after the second chorus to introduce something new, but then ending the song there. Sabrina Carpenter similarly has done pretty standard pop music that followed the known structure for most of her career, like the singles from Emails I Can't Send. But the singles for Short and Sweet, where she entirely rebranded, were kind of designed to take advantage of the shift in form. Espresso entirely lacked a bridge,
That's why they're short and sweet.
Please has a bridge-like
Get it?
outro, but no third chorus. Funnily enough, Nonsense from Emails was not originally a single, but it's the song that ended up taking off the most, and that kind of defined Sabrina Carpenter's entire rebrand. And guess what form it follows? That's right, it has a bridge-like outro, but then it ends there. Not to say these are the only songs that can blow up, but it's an interesting pattern. Taylor Swift has, of course, been writing songs for 20 years, and I think has a pretty established form that she sticks to, and is especially known for writing
Move to
excellent
Florida,
bridges. But even she still
by
kind of
the
plays into
car
the shift.
you
The only
want,
two singles
but
from her
it
most
won't
recent album,
start
which was Post
up
Department,
till it
Fortnite, and I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, both don't have final choruses, and thus don't technically have bridges. They have bridge-like outros instead. And honestly, the outro of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart can barely even be classified as one. It's just her talking. And these aren't the only songs on TTPD to do this, but it's interesting that these two are the ones that she chose as singles to promote the era. Whether that was intentional or not, I do think it shows that this shift is something all artists, even the really established ones, are aware of and being affected by.
She is
now,
not
those are the ones
promoting
that
shit.
I wanted to talk about,
Let's
but
be
here are a
honest.
few more examples.
It took like 10 years to make I Can Do With the Broken Heart a single.
Party in the hills, people trying to talk business.
Remember, the magic
Oh,
of a
we're doing
bridge
this.
comes from that pivot and the introduction of something new. So even if it doesn't lead to a third chorus, it can still be powerful to just include that in some form at the end of the song and leave the listener with one final special thing. But, move on before you lose their attention. Now, I've talked about 3 categories of songs so far. Those that lack bridges entirely, those that have bridge-like outros, and those with full bridges and final choruses. I was curious to see...
You forgot the fucking new chorus verse chorus songs, which suck balls.
songs
Goddamn
without bridges
90-second songs. Like
actually shorter than those with them. Obviously, I haven't included
God,
every
those are
single
terrible.
hit song with each structure, but when you just take the averages of the songs I did include, then actually, yeah, as expected, the songs without bridges overall are shorter than those with bridges. Don't take this as solid proof of anything. This is just off a very small selection of songs that I specifically know, but I think it's interesting to just see how these patterns begin to play out when at least surveying some hit songs. The real data does prove that overall pop songs are getting shorter across the board, regardless of their structure. And is the lack of bridges correlated to songs getting shorter? It would seem so, based on what I've gathered so far. But honestly, here's my personal take on this. I think people nowadays just want simpler songs, whether they're shorter or not. And I think the growing lack of bridges in pop is much more reflective of changes in songwriting style among newer artists and what they need to do to become mainstream. A lot of the hit songs I mentioned that do have bridges come from pretty well-established artists that have a certain songwriting style their fans already know well and that the artist likely wants to stick to. Not all of them, but many of them. And if the song happens to blow up because of its bridge, then that's great. Meanwhile, a lot of the hit songs I mentioned that don't have bridges tend to come from either more up-and-coming artists, so to say, or from artists intentionally trying to create their breakout hit. Again, take Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina has been in the pop music game for years, and this is not her first time having a hit by any means, but you do kind of have to admit there's a cleverness to how Espresso was designed. It's catchy but concise, dare I say short and sweet, which was the whole theme of this new era she was going for.
This guy stole
and
my
guess
joke. What the fuck?
Espresso is the song that ended up taking over the summer. It became one of the biggest songs of 2024, and it ultimately catapulted Sabrina to where she is now, more than any of her previous hits. A lot of the other songs I mentioned were breakout hits for their respective artists as well, pushing them into mainstream through these catchy, short, concise, to-the-point songs that grab your attention and make you want more, but don't quite give you that mainstream more just yet. 360 by Charlie XCX, Beautiful Things by Benson Boone, Boys a Liar Part 2 by Pink Panthers, Push to Start and Water by Tyla. Another great example is Cat's Eye, the new international girl group that's on the rise, who I might do a video on later, stay tuned. Literally their entire debut EP was full of sub 3-minute songs lacking bridges, pushing a catchy chorus out with a fun choreography and moving right along to the next song. But that worked so well for them. They've amassed tons of fans who love their music.
Is that like their emote or something?
The sound they've created is pretty addicting, and their formula intentionally does that. And it's the same principle for even bigger artists who might have a specific style, but might be marketing the songs that more fit the bridgeless form. So in essence, I think that's what this shift is reflective of. A way for artists nowadays to get people's attention. And I don't think it just means make your song shorter and call it a day. I think it means designing your song in a specific way. Remember, the songs I discussed without bridges have very noticeable hooks, in addition to the main chorus of the song. Now, hooks aren't anything new, they've been around forever, but in particular,
people want to get to the hook.
Like these songs have multiple choruses, each of which is equally designed to grab your attention and hook you in. That, I think, has become the priority in pop music, mainly because the more hooks you have, the more chance you have of going viral. There's multiple elements that you can market from, create challenges from, that can become the new trending TikTok sound, all of which give the song a higher chance of being that breakout hit that puts you into the mainstream. Think about Anxiety by Doechii that has like 3 different hooks all at once, which is probably why you and I have heard that song many more times than we need to by this point. And again, I don't think this phenomenon is just a consequence of songs getting shorter due to music industry standards. I think it has more to do broadly with how new songs are getting marketed and pushed out to audiences, and what it takes for an artist to have a viral breakout hit. Considering how much music we are bombarded with every single day, everyone is doing what they can to have their espresso moment. All in all, whether you're a fan of these shifts or not, whether you want to blame TikTok or music labels or people now having the attention span of goldfishes for the lack of bridges in pop, I don't really think there is any need to point fingers. Music is constantly changing, faster than we can ever keep up. And
people are just making music for aux now. You know what I'm saying? That's just it.
It's just music changing with the trends and what the industry
Nobody
demands,
trying to put on a 5-minute song.
Trying to play into that so they can be successful. But just because an artist plays into a certain shift doesn't mean they're selling out. Just because a song goes viral on TikTok doesn't make it a TikTok song. Just because a song is overplayed doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Yes, I'm looking at the Benson Boone haters. I'm looking at the Tate McRae haters. I'm looking at the Lola.
Wait. People don't hate Benson Boone because he's overplayed. They hate him because he's just bad.
Young haters. I'm already seeing video essays online of why people hate Benson Boone, even though this man just started taking off. Like, goddamn, do y'all have anything better?
So? What? What is that even? Oh, no, let me hear him out. Actually, let me hear
better to do than hate on new artists who are actually out there getting their bag while you're at home eating Frosted Flakes straight out of the carton? It does seem like...
What the fuck? Wait, hold on. What the fuck is this take? I'm actually... let me hear this again. I actually need... I need to make sure I heard it right.
Song. Just because a song is overplayed doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Yes, I'm looking at the Benson Boone haters. I'm looking at the Tate McRae haters. I'm looking at the Lola Young haters.
Okay, but I I don't see people on the internet going and saying, "Oh, Benson Boone is bad" or "Tate McRae is bad" because they're overplayed. No, they're saying there's certain qualities to them that people don't like. I feel like main quality for Tate McRae haters is her voice, and I can see why. Like, I can see why people don't like her voice. It's very unique. I don't mind her voice. I think I like her voice, but I could see why people wouldn't like it. You know, that voice could probably get grating. And Benson Boone is Benson Boone. Okay, I honestly look. Benson Boone is overhated. I 100%. I understand like this guy like being mad about like, you know, Benson Boone being hated the way he is, but I don't hate Benson Boone, but I understand why Benson Boone is being hated. You know what I'm saying? That falsetto that he has, that scream that he has, a lot of people don't like that. They don't like that shit at all. Okay? And they find his whole shit kind of fake. I get like just kind of not the backflip stuff. Look, people aren't gonna like celebrities and that's
I'm already seeing
that's just how it
video
is, bro.
online of why people hate Benson Boone, even though this man just started taking off. Like, God
And this is a bad take too. Just because they start taking off, you can't hate on somebody. Like what?
damn, do y'all have anything better to do than hate on new artists who are actually out there getting their bag while you're at home eating Frosted Flakes?
Let's say Jimmy, he started becoming rich because he cut down all the trees in Africa. But like he just started. So Timmy has a goal. I just changed his name. Whatever. Timmy has a goal to cut down all the trees on Earth, right? But he's just started and he only cut down all the trees in Africa. Should we not hate on Timmy because he just started cutting down all the trees in Africa and he hasn't cut down all the trees on Earth? No, that wouldn't make any. We don't hate on him because he just started. We hate on him because he's cutting fucking trees down. You know what I'm saying? That's probably a bad analogy, but like you guys understand. Like
it does seem like dropping the bridge and focusing on the chorus is kind of the formula now.
Benson Boone is not good though. I'm sorry. Like he has a song like "Slow It Down" is a W song. He's not good though. I don't hate him. I think he's very overhated, but
to go viral, but those songs very much still exist outside the bubble of social media. People enjoy them and listen to them and make meaning from them, which is what music is all about. And I don't think it's fair for any of us to deny that just because you might think a song is bad, or just because social media is designed to push the same 3 songs into your algorithm reel after reel until your sleep paralysis demon is suddenly singing "Shake It to the Max" in the corner of your bedroom at 3 a.m. Wait, what? I don't really know what I'm saying anymore, but the key point is that there is no one single formula for songwriting. You can write a 2.5-minute song with an incredible bridge, or a 5-minute song without one. It's all just about how you want to make music that moves people.
I like to make music that moves people.
I'm lucky enough to get to take songwriting classes at my college, and both writing songs of my own and seeing other people's writing process is so eye-opening to how individual and personal songwriting can really be. New artists are going to do what they need to do to get their bag. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
True.
But instead of dragging an artist down the moment they go viral, support them. Help them find their unique sound and what makes them unique. And if you don't like them, move on. It's that simple. Anyway,
I'm sorry, I don't like that take at all.
that's all
I
for
think
this
that's a
video.
terrible-
Let me know down.
I also
Help
think
them
this is a
find
terrible
their-
take.
But it be new artists are gonna do what they need to do to get their bag. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. But instead of dragging an artist down the moment they go viral, support them. Help them find their unique sound and what makes them unique. And if you don't like them, move on. It's that simple. Anyways,
You do realize that like a lot of like artists out there, like the hate that they get fuels them, right? That's literally Benson Boone's whole thing. Like that Mr. Electric Blue video, him doing the self-aware shit. A lot of people have been exposed to Benson Boone because of the hate. I'm not saying that hate is good, but all publicity is good publicity is kind of true. It's kind of, not always true. It's kind of true, okay? And also, if you don't like an artist, you can say fuck them. Who cares? No one's... The thing is like when you're doing that, you're just putting more attention on the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
When they go viral, support them. Help them find their unique sound and what makes them unique. And if you
Hey, if the song is ass, I'm not supporting them. Like, what? Why would if a song is ass, why would I support it? Why? Give me one reason why. To help them? Why would I want to help them? Who the fuck are they? They're a stranger. I don't know who they are. Okay? You think me, 17-year-old, broke, no subscribers, no views, no okay, I'm okay. I appreciate you guys very much. Okay. Irrelevant, broke, short, ugly, fat 17-year-old is gonna go out of my way to be like, well, Benson Boone's song is ass, but like I'm gonna support him as much. Like, no, I don't care. Why would I care? Why would I care to support? Why would I care to support someone if their music is ass? If their music is good, I'm gonna support them. Okay. But why would I take energy and time out of my day to support someone who's ass? I'm sorry. That's
you don't like
that's
them,
just a terrible
move
take.
on. It's that simple. Anyways, that's all for this video. Let me know down below if you agree with my analysis, if you've noticed these changes as well. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I talk a lot about
I think this is a good video, but like some of these last takes were cop shitty. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I mean it's his video, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants, right? But I think like, well, aside from that those arguments don't even like support the actual like topic of the video. Everything apart from like those takes that don't even like mean anything, I think like this video is actually pretty good. I think it explained a lot about, you know, bridges and music and all about that. What else was I gonna say? The simplicity, I do agree with that too. I think it's not. There's not one thing. I agree. There's not one thing that you can point to that is taking bridges out of music and is making music shorter. Because there's so many different factors and everything. You can't really point to one thing. But yeah, what do you guys think of this video? Tell me down below. Go subscribe to Blue Haven Boulevard. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Boba Di Gnarly. Na 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 na.